Hey coders, what's up? This is Raghav Devarakonda back with another video on Python Pandas. In this video, let's see what is a data frame, how do we represent a data frame, and different ways to create data frames. So what is a data frame? A data frame is a two-dimensional data structure in which data is aligned in a fashion of rows and columns, similar to a spreadsheet. Then what are the features of data frame? Well, in data frames, different columns can have different data types. Like in the first column, you might have a string type. In the second column, you might have an integer type. In the third column, you might have a float type, and so on. And also, data frame size is mutable. That means you can edit the data frame, you can add rows, you can add columns, or you can delete rows and delete columns. Also, it has labeled access. That means the rows and columns are labeled with column labels and row labels or indexes. And the most important feature of data frame is that it can perform arithmetic operations on rows and columns. So this is how a data frame is represented. It has rows and columns, and each column has column label and each row has a row label or index. And column labels are also known as column headers. So now let's get into the fun part, how to create data frames. So there are many ways to create data frames, but let's just discuss some of the important ways of it. The first one is using dictionaries, second one is by using list of tuples and list of dictionaries and then numpy arrays, and also using other tabular data files. So let's start with it. I'll just open the Jupyter notebook for you. So let's open our IPy notebook. Yeah. To work with pandas, we first need to import pandas, right? So let's just import it over here. Import pandas as p. Okay, now let's see how we can define a data frame and what we require to define a data frame. So to create a data frame, we just need to say df is equal to pd dot data frame. And if you see over here, it takes certain parameters inside this. So the main parameter which we require is data. So we have to pass in some data to create our data frame. Let's take a look on how to define a data frame by using a dictionary of data. Let's say I want to create a data frame on this data over here. So it should have the name column and age column, and the data inside it is John has age 20, Stephen 19, Nick 25 and David 22. Let's define our data over here in a form of a dictionary. Okay, and here the key represents the name of the column. So the first key is name, and then inside that we have to give a list of the data inside the column. So inside the list I have to give John, Stephen, Nick and David. So let's see. And then the second key is for the second column, that is age, and again a list of the values. Those are 20, 19, 25, 22. This is the required data for us. So now let's try to create the data frame by using this data. Creating a data frame is very easy. We just need to create an object df, that is pd data frame, and inside the data frame we just need to mention the data. So I'm saying it as data, and after that let's try to print out our data over here. Yep. So as you can see, we got our required data frame over here with the column headers as name and age, and the data as John 20, Stephen 19 years, Nick 25 years and David 22 years. And if you observe carefully, we also have our row indexes. They are generated automatically. So that is great, guys. We'll get into the next way to create a data frame, that is by using list of tuples. So again, we'll define a variable data, and inside this list I have to specify the tuples, and each of this tuple represents each of this row. So the first tuple represents John and 20, second tuple should have Stephen and 19, third Nick and 25, and the last one with David and 22. So let me just do that real quick for you guys. And then we have to define our data frame over here. So let's just say df is equal to pd dot data frame, and inside this we'll specify the data, that is data. Okay, and let's try to print the data frame. And again, you're able to see the data in the form of a data frame, but we're not having the column headers over here, right? That is because we didn't define the column headers over here. Like, we didn't say that this should be name and this column should be age, right? So if you want to do that, we have to specify it when we're defining our data frame. So over here we'll say columns is equal to, and we'll give a list of column names over here. So the first one is name and then age. Let's try to do it again, and bingo, we got it, right? We got name and age, and yeah, that is perfect. And let's go on to the next example, that is by using list of dictionaries. So previously we used a dictionary with a list, but now it's the reverse. We're going to use list of dictionaries. So let's see how we'll do that. So again, data is, now it's going to be a list, and here we will define some dictionaries. And again, each dictionary over here represents each row. So this is somewhat similar to how we defined our tuples. Okay, each dictionary over here will represent each row. So the keyword will be our column name over here. So the first is name, and his name is John, and then age. Yep, so this is how you define a list of dictionaries over here. And now again, let's try to create our data frame. So df is equal to pd dot data frame, okay, and the data df, and yeah, perfect. So good, we got our required output over here, that is name and age in the column headers, and we got John 20 years, Stephen 19 years, Nick 25, and David 22. That is great, guys. And now let's go into the last method which I'll discuss in this video, and that is about using Numpy arrays. So if you want to use Numpy in our pandas, we first need to import Numpy, right? So let me import Numpy over here. Okay, and now let's try to create an array with this data. So data for us now is yeah. And again, here we have to define each row separately. So it's gonna be like John and 20 in the first one. So this is our Numpy array over here. And now let's try to use this data to create a data frame. So df is equal to pd dot data frame and data. And again, if you check it, this is similar to the output which you got at first when we're using tuples and list, right? So that is because again here we didn't define our column names anywhere. I mean, we didn't say that this is going to be the name and it should be our column headers. We can define it in when we are defining our data frame over here, saying columns is equal to again name and age. And now let's try to do it. And perfect. So these are the 4 ways I wanted to discuss on how to create a data frame with you guys. And yeah, I hope this video is useful to you. And in the next video, let's discuss how to read data sets from different file formats such as Excel file, CSV file, or HTML file, and etc. Thank you guys. I hope you like this video. Please do like and share this video to your friends. Do subscribe to my channel guys, and for more updates press the bell icon. Bye bye.